Welcome to The Pull Bags, Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the back issue classics are also what's in the Pull Bag.
Sign-off time, April O'Neil. Chill out, homeboy.
Hey, watch it with that thing, pal!
Oh, whoever you are dead.
Whoa, weird-looking dudes. Yeah, and they dress funny, too.
I don't know who you are, but thanks. You're not human.
Bingo. Yeah, we're dealing with a real mind here.
You're turtles.
Yep, so we are.
I can't handle this.
Oh, she's no fun. She fainted.
What the devil?
Well, where am I?
Some hot tea?
I don't believe this. Oh.
I wish she'd stop doing that.
Come on, lady, wake up!
Hey, it's tough trying to carry on a conversation with you, you know?
Perhaps some food would aid the young lady's powers of speech.
Pizza time!
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is yet again another back issue classics. I'm your host, TFG and Mike. Joining me once again is Joe Reed. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and this time Shredder has not miffed with Joe's signal or static or no static this time around.
Thank goodness.
Yes, I did. I don't know if you've listened to the first episode we did for Volume 1, but I did work in some Shredder magic because I dedicated the episode to the memory of James Avery.
Oh, excellent.
I did it to where I set it to where this episode is dedicated to the memory of James Avery. Most people will know him as Uncle Phil, or you can call him. And then I cut around where he just says, the Shredder. And then I found, what was the other clip I used? At the end of the episode, when your connection had broken, I used something like, you would be wise to lose your flippant ways. So, yeah. Oh, man. All right, so we are here to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 2, Enemies Old, Enemies New. This is IDW's Volume 2, collecting issues 5 through 8 of the ongoing by Kevin Eastman, Tom Waltz, and Dan Duncan. I gotta say, I was really... You kept teasing me in the first episode about, oh, just wait. With the bandanas, just wait. And I was like, oh crap, I can't believe they just did that. It's so awesome. It's some of the best storytelling ever. So how we're going to do this is, Joe gave me a list of how the IDW continuity is supposed to be read chronologically.
And I think we should link that to our listeners in the show notes when we get a chance.
I will. And so he sent me this list, and I'm like, okay, but I'm getting these in trade.
And it makes it a pain in the neck to read, and I have to wag my finger at IDW for doing it that way, just mostly because there are things that are...
Oh, yeah.
One thing that I wish IDW would have done with the series, since... It wasn't such a big issue as we were reading these, and I read them single issues in order, but it really does matter. These micro series, eventually they are really cut into the story, and by either separating them in trades or the issue that I've had the problem with here is just the numbering, because we're reading 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the micro series are individually numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it continues with villains later and other such things. But that's making it a pain in the neck for us to do this in chronological order, because you're reading them in trades. I have them here, and I must have that story in order. But we'll deal with it.
Yeah,
and we'll make it easy on you listeners.
Oh yes, most definitely. And see, my thing was, I don't want to have to track down and pay whatever ungodly amounts of money to get all the singles. Mm-hmm. I love reading trades. It's such a better way to read comics. It really is.
I have decided I am going to convert my Ultimate Spider-Man and Walking Dead to trades just to get rid of the room. I'm in a major comics sort in the middle of it right now, and I'm up to 9 short boxes of comics, and I go, you know what? That's about 6 short boxes too many. I need to fix this, and those are 2 of the biggest culprits. So, but I'm not getting rid of my Ninja Turtles. Never again. I regret stopping this series anywhere I've done it.
Yeah, and it's funny that what they've done. See, IDW, I love IDW publishing. Don't get me wrong, I do. But how they're marketing the micros and the ongoing is 2 separate things, because the first 4 micros, Raph, Mikey, Leo, and Donnie, or Raph, Mikey, Donnie, and Leo, is one trade, issues 1 through 4 for the micro series. And then they go on, like Micro Series Volume 2 is Splinter, April, Casey and Fugitoid.
Yep, that's right.
And then you've got the Villain Micro Series that's going on now. So you've got all that going on. And it's the same thing. When they get to trades, they're going to put those, they're going to put, let's see, they're going to put Krang, Baxter, Alopex, and Old Hob into probably 1. And then they'll put Karai, Hun, Bebop and Rocksteady, and Shredder in the other when they collect it in trade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I usually can follow along, like today when I read Volume 2, and then I read Micro Series Volume 1, which is, as I mentioned, the 4 Turtles. It has notes in the micro series that if you hadn't read Volume 2...
Go see issue 6 of this book. Yeah, and it kind of refers you to where they're making a reference.
Yeah, which is always nice. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Volume 2 after this.
Clang? Did you say Clang? Check those dudes out. Dudes, nuts. They're robots. Robots? Let's rock!
All right. Well, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 2, Enemies Old, Enemies New. The front cover is Splinter with the turtles in the background and some humans. And I like the front cover. I will say right off the bat that I'm going to, if people want to bitch about me bitching about something, or that I constantly repeat myself, I'm going to warn you people now. I'm going to constantly complain about Splinter's design.
I always complain about Splinter's design. He always looks like a dog to me.
It's not so much... Okay, on the cover of the trade, it's him with a side profile. So it's like he's walking down the street in front of a window. So the side profile is not bad. But when they go like for a headshot on him, it just looks weird.
They always draw him like a dog, and I've tried to tackle this problem. I've gone online and found pictures of rats and pictures of Japanese men, and I've tried to make a good Splinter that looks like a rat, and it's really difficult. I mean, the big thing is that rats have round ears, just like mice. Splinter's always drawn with pointy ears, and whenever you put those round ears on them, he starts to look like a mouse guard character. He starts to look small. Yeah. And it's a nightmare. And I guess I understand why they end up doing it this way. Like, okay, sure, rats are hard to draw.
Oh, man.
But the beautiful thing about this cover, and actually this issue 5, if you're following along singly, is that in this book, there are 2 illustrators. Santaluco, I believe I'm saying that name right. We'll get into the content of the issue, but both artists, Duncan and Santaluco, the covers fit together, and it's on one side of it, it's a human Hamato Yoshi with panels of his background in Santaluco's style, and then at the spine it crosses over into Dan Duncan's familiar Turtles now and the Splinter, and you're looking at these mirror images of where the story goes inside. I will say, I'll start off in talking about this issue. This is my favorite issue. This is the one that told me that I was not going to ever stop reading this version of the Turtles.
Now, why is that?
I guess, well, getting into the episode, the issue episode, listen to that like I'm watching a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Splinter is sneaking around New York City in the back alleys. He's headed somewhere, and as he's kind of taking out Old Hobbs thugs that are wandering around, he kind of says, "This is familiar to me. I remember doing this, kind of." And then it flashes instantly, next page, to 16th century Japan with Hamato Yoshi running around, and immediately with that one single turn of the page, we see how this Turtles world, this version of them, is going to happen. That the 80s cartoon, or even the old series, Hamato Yoshi and Shredder were contemporary people. They came over here, and all of a sudden it's the 80s and 90s, but they're still ninjas. Well, no, wait, Hamato Yoshi is 16th century ninja in this. And so it's setting up just this whole beautiful picture of how the Turtles relate to Splinter and how Splinter relates to Shredder. This is where it started.
Yeah.
This is the point. One page, we turn the page, and it's the different art style. It's the Santaluco's work, kind of anime bent to it. The eyes. It's looks like the manga series. Oh, shnikes. It'll come to me. Sorry, all of you. You don't get to hear what I'm talking about in my head, but it'll come to me.
Yes. I love the dialogue in this. The art is amazing, but the story, like we're only like 2.5 pages into this, and the story, just the narration from Splinter, and it's just amazing, and it gets better from here. And I like how he constantly flashes back and forth, and how, like you said, he's going around picking off all of Old Hobbs' men so he's trying to get home is what he's trying to do. And then we get the flashback with him and the or what would become the Foot Clan. It does remind me a little bit of the '87 series, the pilot, with the backstory of, if you're not going to follow my orders and blah 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 blah, and,
Well, in the cartoon, I think the head of the clan came and Hamato or Orokosaki put the knife in the back and he couldn't bow, disrespect, and he pulls the knife out. No, throw the bum out. I remember very clearly the accent.
Yes. Yeah. And then I wasn't sure where this book was going to go, and then we get the next page where you have Tang Shin and the Four Sons, and immediately before they even and before they even threw it out there, before they even said it later on in the later issues in this volume, I'm like, it's going to be reincarnation.
I'm jumping ahead to the strongest feeling that I got from this book. Happens later. We'll spoil that when we get there. But in any of the incarnation of the Turtles before, I've never felt even the slightest inkling to sympathize with Splinter or Hamato Yoshi, whichever version you're talking about. I never felt a connection to him. As I read this, when I first read this, I was a new dad. And as soon as Hamato Yoshi had children and they become the Turtles, I felt I was Splinter now. I am Splinter now as I'm relating to the book, to seeing these children here. And it made a much stronger connection for me to sympathize with Splinter and to care about his development and his motives and what's going on with him. And that's incredible. That they did, and this is the first time we've ever seen that. This is the first time Yoshi and Orokosaki and the Turtles were ever in 16th century Japan, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because in other continuities, all it says is they were in Japan, they had these, Japanese traditions, and this and everything, and then all of a sudden all this stuff happened, then he had to come to America. So it's never really been stated what time frame Hamato Yoshi and Orokosaki are really from until this story. So
we've been forced to assume that, or either they pretend that it's ancient Japan, but then all of a sudden it's 1980s and 90s New York. And I was like, what was the Foot Clan doing in contemporary Japan in the late 70s and early 80s? Were they just a McDojo where they taught ninjutsu to businessmen, or were they Yakuza? They never exactly go into it. But this explains where the Foot Clan went, or where they existed, how they worked, and I'm sure there's something going on contemporary that they haven't exactly gone into in the book yet. But
not yet, no. So we get the flashback, and sadly Tang Shen is slain. Yoshi and his 4 sons escape, and all that, and then we flash to present day, a hockey rink where Casey is sidelined talking with his coach, and apparently Casey needs to get his grades up or he can't play anymore.
I could have done without this story arc because it interrupted such a beautiful story, but
it did. But I do like this because it sets up Casey and April like I've never seen before. So that's the one reason why I do like Casey's story arc, at least with this. Yes, you're right, it does interrupt a really beautiful story, but
this part needed to get done to tie their picture together. And I also, interesting to note, rereading this, since reading this, the Nickelodeon series has started. This is Nickelodeon series Casey Jones and April O'Neil's story. He's going to get her, she's tutoring him rather, in school.
Yep.
So I wonder if they got the idea from this. I don't know.
I don't know. I know that the next new episode of the show comes up February 2nd, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think the last one was search and destroy some. I don't know. I think it was the Slash episode.
That's the last one I remember seeing. My DVR refuses to record it reliably, so I've given up and just have to watch it streaming. So I'm missing it and seeing it out of order.
It's very clear because we flash back again to Japan, and Shredder shows. Well, he's not Shredder now, but
he's definitely decked out in armor that looks peculiarly. How do you say that word? Anyway, he's got a whole bunch of salad-making accoutrements all over his body.
Yeah.
Just making coleslaw.
The panel on the opposite page where, and that he would once again be able to face a Rakosaki warrior to warrior. The 4 sons, you can easily tell who's who.
Their kimonos are appropriately colored. They have all their weapons. They're getting trained by Hamato Yoshi when Shredder shows up. And in the next panel, we've got a Japanese samurai firing squad. What do you call that? They're trying to assassinate the children and Hamato Yoshi. And this is the moment where I'm Splinter watching my child. And I, by this point, by the end of this page, I'm bawling the first time I read this. Like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And anything, video game, comic book, television show that makes me cry, you have me for life. I am totally committed emotionally and financially.
Yeah. So we have that. And thus Hamato Yoshi and his sons were no more. Yet their tale does not end. It has now become one of new hope. So Splinter gets home, and this is by far the best explanation that I could ever think of.
You could ever want for all that red, and then now you have the colors.
You wore this color, the favorite color of your brother who was missing, in honor of him to serve you. It's kind of like, I hope people don't get insulted by this, but it kind of reminds me of when police officers put a piece of black around their shields for one of their fallen comrades. Like if an officer is that's what it kind of reminds me of. And it's one of the best explanations ever. But it also raises a question: how did you know his favorite color was red? And it's kind of bringing in the whole reincarnation thing and everything else. And as we go along, we'll see that Leo is the one that is one with the Force. And Raph gets his weapons. Very, very cool. And yep, there's the shot. That face shot of Splinter. He does not look like a rat at all. Oh boy. And we flash for half a second to Casey and April for some reason. And then it goes back to Splinter. Another face shot where he doesn't look like a rat at all.
I wonder if that's the same drawing mirrored.
Probably.
It is. Because the spots are same in reverse. That's the point. Well, saving time, I guess. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this page and I'm seeing the Casey reference and the April reference. The movie, the original movie, live action, Jim Henson. The theme was family, and they're meditating in the woods, and we're family. That's why we have this connection. This is the first time where Splinter actually is their real father, and then we flash to Casey, who's missing his mom, who's dead, and is the reason that he's staying with his abusive father, and April, who has her mom and has her family together, and it's essentially very soon going to be all of these people becoming one family.
One family,
and it unites that theme. I think that
it does. Yes,
comes together with these guys.
And issue 5 ends with a Christmas celebration. Because there is a Christmas tree on that final page.
I think that was thrown in there as, all right, guys, it's December. This issue's going to come out. Let's throw a Christmas tree in there.
Yeah, it's thrown in there
because they're probably Buddhist. I don't think they'd have a Christmas tree. It's a Saturnalia tree, surely.
Yeah. Well, did you see the lights?
Yeah, the 4 colors.
Yellow, red, orange, and blue. And yellow, orange, red, purple, and blue.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. That's right. Yeah. So issue 6 starts with creepy ninjas.
I'm glad that I came back and reread these because I'm getting so much more. I'm catching so much more. The Ninja Turtles chasing down 2 Foot Ninja. And it's, how do we know we're Foot Ninja? Well, because Splinter says they're Foot Ninja. We've described them to him. He knows what they look like. And they have an argument because the Turtles don't remember 16th century Japan. They don't remember it yet. So they're kind of going on faith, and Donatello's being analytical. Reincarnation, there's no proof. It doesn't exist. Leo's getting spiritual about it. But how do we know? He's our father. We should honor him and honor what he says and believe it, even if it's not real. And Mike and Raph are like, meh, whatever. Let's go bust skulls.
Yeah. Oh, man. And again, the art style change, it's not like the background, like the color change is what I'm talking about. It's nice, but it's a little jarring to go from something so bright to something so dark. Like, I mean, I guess it probably wouldn't have happened for someone like you who read it singly, but in the trade, going from the lightness of, like the light colors of the of the lair to nighttime in New York. And I love the four of them arguing. It's, it's so awesome. What'd you say, Leo? Nothing, genius. Come on, guys. So this kind of sets up a little bit of a mystery because they're chasing these two foot ninja who are chasing this other guy who is...
He looks like Naruto. I have a problem with that because Naruto's not a real ninja. Real ninjas don't run around with their arms behind their backs, and it drives me nuts. I can't even stand it.
So then you must hate the cartoon series.
Oh, yes, I do. Especially because when they're training in the dojo, the martial arts are real, the wrist locks are real, the throws are real. They call them by the real Japanese names that I know because I take Aikido. And then they go run around like, Naruto. Like, dang it! You're not more aerodynamic that way. You're turtles. You're big and round. You're running into the wind. It does not. Ugh. Anyway, the foot ninja are chasing this guy that looks like Naruto. We find out that he's a French ninja, French martial artist. Savat, I think, is the name of the martial art or the group. I don't know French, so I don't.
I think it's the name of the martial art. I think Donnie finds it out that that's the name of the style that he's using,
which is a real martial art. Go look it up. My favorite, I don't have a page number in front of me. My favorite panel that stands out is where the four turtles at the top of the page, and all we see are the top of Leo's eyes, the top of Raph's eyes, the top of Donnie's eyes, and as they're watching the ninjas fight, and then there's Mikey sticking his head up, looking at the interesting, amazing fight that he's witnessing. Damn! Like, thank you, Mikey. It's cute.
Oh yeah.
Because I can hear that in the dude's voice from the movie, and that's where it.
Yeah. I would give anything to interview Robbie Wrist. I really would.
That's the voice actor from the movie?
Yes. Oh man. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So we have the fight. We have a giant explosion. The French dude is dying. And apparently the message that he leaves behind is that war is coming.
Holy crap. I didn't realize it until you just said it. That's foreshadowing City at War that happens like 20 issues later.
You mean City Fall?
Yeah, City at War was yes. That was 80s comic. But yes, City at War, where these French ninjas they play an important role. Interesting.
Yeah. So then we go to Old Hob and Baxter Stockman for a page. And Stockman is basically insulting him the whole time.
Old Hob being charged to get Splinter's blood back because they need to extract that brain chemical that made him smart as a rat. And setting up again. It's amazing going back through this, realizing how much they do set up. They aren't what's the literary term, gardening, where you leave little breadcrumbs, but you don't exactly know where you're putting what they're going to connect to as the author. These guys are setting it up, and they know what's going to connect later. And I think that's exquisite because it's been happening for a long time. And how many breadcrumbs am I missing now that are going to show up in the 50s and the 60s of this comic if it goes that long?
Oh, man. Well, we're already up to 32 at this point, or 30 or 30, somewhere around 30, 32 issues, so who knows? I mean, they could go anywhere. Right? So then we get like I said, we get the one page with Old Hob and Stockman, and then we switch to Casey and his drunkard of a father. He's basically insulting him because he doesn't think he could actually hold a job. And we see that Casey is going to call April because he basically grabbed
the whole. He didn't
sheet.
Take a tab. He took the whole sheet.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can get this chick's number.
Yeah. And then we go back to the lair with the turtles. And they're explaining to Splinter what's going on. again, the art style is so great, and I'm so happy they have their actual colors. And I actually tell them apart now. Mikey, French dude rocking French food makes sense. And here's where Donnie kind of admits that he doesn't go for this whole reincarnation bit. It's interesting to see that. I mean, and you would think that it would be Donatello that would do that. Because, and again, when I was reading this, I'm thinking, okay, nice nod to Turtles 2, people.
Which one?
Because Turtles 2, Donnie was really skeptical and wanted real answers about where they came from. The 91 film.
Yeah.
The Secret of the Ooze. So it kind of makes sense that Donnie would be the skeptic when it came to this kind of stuff. So Splinter tells them the story of how they became the Rat and the Four Turtles and how evil Stockgen is. And one day eventually there was one who came to work at the laboratory who possessed an aura of goodness. And I did my best to warn her of the dangers I believed surrounds us all. Please do not tell me they are thinking about making April the now life of Tang Shen. Please tell me they aren't going to do that.
It doesn't seem like that.
No, yeah, I know.
They have. I'll give you this. They have not done it yet, and it does not seem like they will. So I think we're safe.
Yeah. And Splinter still looks like a dog. Ugh. Come on, artists, fix that. So he explains that whole story to them. We then switch to New York Tech Dorm Hall H. And Casey believes that what he's doing is a mistake because no one's going to hire him. And he knocks on the door, and he's got this shocked look on his face because there's April. He's like, whoa.
Do you think he knows he's going to marry her yet?
Wait, they get married?
Well, yeah, they were married in the computer generated movie.
No, yeah, that's okay.
And they got married in the 80s as well. I do, and they had a kid, Shadow. I think Shadow was their kid.
So we then switch back to Stockgen and Old Hob and Stockman, and here's where the Mousers come in. This is interesting. I'll say the least for that. You have a cat working the Mousers.
I didn't see that before. Going after a rat. Yes. And another neat thing about the comic, and it probably comes from having Eastman on it, is how closely this parallels to the 80s series. In the 80s series, the Mousers showed up relatively early in the story with Baxter, and at about this time, their one-shot issues started sprinkling in and being a part of it. And I think it's such a nice throwback, a nod of respect, and an acknowledgement of what came before them, but at the same time doing amazing, beautiful, artistic things with the story, changing it in ways we wouldn't have expected them to. I'm impressed.
Throughout both of the Volume 1 and this volume here, I'm really impressed with the storytelling. The art I might have issues with here and there, but overall, it's really great. Now that they have their true colors, it's even better, so I can actually tell them apart. And, I mean, you've said it already. I mean, it can only get better from here. And issue 2 ends, or not issue 2, issue 6 ends with Baxter saying, I call them Mousers for short.
Oh, well, yes. I kind of rolled my eyes at this point. It's... these crazy things, as you describe them, have a name. They're for demining minefields. They go through, chew on them, and destroy them, and they're disposable. Their long form is Minefield Ordnance Unarming System Enhanced Robots, and they're Mousers. It sounds like somebody just really wanted our initials to spell out Shield. It sounds like somebody really wanted their initials to spell out Mousers. Yeah, I wish they'd have not done that, but I can ignore that. That's a insignificant, worthless gripe.
It's a nice. See, I wasn't sure where he was going to go with that explanation, and then I get to that final page, and I'm like, oh, cool. That's kind of cool.
And I like the idea that they were minefield ordnance disposal units. That makes a whole lot of sense too for why they're designed that way. It made it logical, kind of, in comic book land, but better than being mobile mouse traps that kind of didn't. It'll chew up your apartment. What are you doing?
Oh, God. Can you imagine if it was the Mousers instead of the Foot Clan in the 90 film? It would be a lot more damage.
I wonder if...
Yeah.
I don't think this is, structurally speaking, such a nice time for your friends to drop in.
Yeah.
Do you think we could recite that whole movie if we sat down without warning?
I seriously doubt I'd be able to even keep my mouth shut if I did a commentary, because I'd be saying the words along with it as it played.
There's so many good lines in that.
Oh my God, yes. All right, so issue
7.
3. Issue 7. That's the other thing about the. Don't get me wrong, I love trades. It's weird how IDW is doing the trades for this, because in the trade it's called Chapter 3, not Chapter 7.
Man.
So issue 7 starts on the planet Neutrino. They couldn't use Dimension X, really? They couldn't say...
Neutrino is in Dimension X.
Okay.
You're safe. It's real.
Okay. I mean, I like the... See, again, me coming from the cartoon is the only place I've ever seen the Neutrinos, because I haven't watched all of the 2003 series.
Yeah, so I don't think the Neutrinos are ever in anything else. I think there might be, like Honeycutt, Fugitoid, I think might have been a Neutrino, but they didn't. They didn't go into them much. So when they dropped Planet Neutrino and they're pulling all these references from comics and cartoon and all these other things, I think, hey, we're gonna get those teenagers. What do they call them? The rad bad teenagers from Dimension X or something.
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah. And we get General Krang, who I'm just waiting to see the brain at this point, because I know it's coming. Well, I will say one thing about this design of Krang. At least his compartment is on his chest and not his stomach, almost near his crotch. Yeah. So at least there is one good thing. I will say that the drawing for Krag doesn't really fit to me. He doesn't look like he's made of stone, does he?
No. Did you catch the where the what are they, stone soldiers, the rock soldiers? What do they call them in the cartoon? Yeah. Where they came from. They're humans that the research that the Turtles gave StockGen was growing shells on other organic things. The stone soldiers are terrapin, they're turtle skin things.
Oh, wow.
And so they're the product of the Turtles' research. Humans that have been given stone skin, bulletproof skin, because they're growing that. So there's a nod for you to how the stone soldiers came to be in this world.
I love the quote from Krang, because it comes out of, the first part of the quote comes out of his humanoid face. Tell my pilot to get my plane ready. I'm going to pay the doctor a visit. It's high time he and I get together for a little face to face. And then you see the brain. And we go back to New York. And Mikey apparently has made a friend. I'm so glad Mikey... I'm kind of wondering if Mikey ever tried to bring a girl here, because all as I can think of this entire scene is Lady and the Tramp.
Thankfully, I've never seen it, so if they referenced it, I'm totally out.
Lady and the Tramp, there's a scene where Lady and the Tramp, the girl dog and the boy dog, go to this back alley spaghetti Italian restaurant and they eat. You've seen that classic scene, right?
With the spaghetti. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's that whole scene is basically what this is reminding me of, with Mikey taking Raph up to the pizza place. I know. I make weird alliterations sometimes.
Hey, that's the point. That's how we bring part of ourselves to these comic books.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I bring my being a father and loving my son and crying over the death of his children. You bring Lady and the Tramp to the table.
Sounds so wrong, doesn't it? Oh boy. So they basically get a free pizza and salad from the guy. And Mikey is he's just being himself. He's like, did I tell you how awesome this guy is? Did I tell you? It's kind of like that kid. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Mom, he's touching me. So we then cut back to Splinter, Leo, and Donnie. And what is Splinter doing on that panel? Is he praying or what in the heck?
Oh, he's meditating, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. And Leo and Donnie are having a conversation and
about reincarnation, and Donnie still doesn't buy it.
Yeah, and then Leo has a vision of his dead mother.
Beautiful. Oh my god. Oh my god. And it I don't know why this didn't affect me reading it the first time. It didn't trigger that Leo's starting to remember, and he knows this is real. But not only does that, this is also, it connects to something that happens later. Again, Leo remembering his mother. Gives me a whole other reason to actually really love Leonardo. Thank you for the turn, IDW Comics, and everybody who has anything to do with this book.
Yeah. So Donnie kind of asks Leo in a monologue, "What do you think is going to come here for us? We live in a sewer." And all of a sudden, the Mousers crash in.
Nod to the cartoon, yay!
Yep. And then we have April punching the punching bag. How old is she supposed to be in this?
They're college, so 20, okay. 21, 22.
I was going to say, because that bottom panel there, it's a little swept up on her. Oh boy. So basically, the Casey and April storyline is she's going to tutor him and he's going to teach her self-defense.
Because she wants to be able to take on the ninjas next time they break into StockGen. Except she doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go back to the lair, and Splinter and Leo and Donnie are having major problems combating these things.
Donnie and Leo are cutting them and smashing them with their weapons. Splinter's bare-knuckle brawling these things, shattering them.
Yeah.
Because he's Splinter and he can do that.
Yes. Very, very, very cool. And we eventually figure out that it's old Hob who's controlling these things. And we see that, and Hob eventually starts making the Mousers knock the place down. And he then, so the place is getting ready to get knocked down, and Raph and Mikey are just now getting to the sewer to go home with the dinner. We then have... See, now that I'm going, like, when I read this, it read really well.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm going back through it, I'm like, wow, we're changing scenes so fast.
Yeah, I think it just takes that time to read it that softens the blow of these scene changes. And then we also have we're missing, when we just review this, we're missing the links that the dialogue might make, where it travels from one page to the next, or...
Yeah, yeah. So we then go to the Upper West Side of Stockman's apartment, where apparently it looks like somebody's broken in. And Stockman meets General Trag. I keep wanting to say General Trag because he was a general in the cartoon.
Yeah.
General Krang. I'm really surprised that Krang has not revealed his true self to Stockman yet. I kept sitting here looking at that, and I'm like, the page where he's like, for which I immediately resupplied you with the ooze components you said you needed to get the things back on track. That panel there, where you can clearly see that the way it's drawn, it looks like something is trying to reach out from underneath the black panel.
Oh, yeah.
You can really see that he wants to reveal his true self. So basically Stockman tells him that you shall soon have good general. I've initiated a plan. And we switch back to the sewer, and Raph and Mikey see the destruction of the lair, which is not a good thing. And they get back, damn it. I can't believe they cursed.
Oh, I remember 10-year-old me going, oh my god, they said a curse word! Raph, when he's coming in losing his eye.
I don't know what's worse. The long damn when he loses it, or the short one when he goes into the lair.
In the last page of this issue, you can see that Donnie's been incapacitated, Splinter's been incapacitated, and it's only a beat-up looking Leo. I don't know how much longer I can hold him off.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's one of my favorite illustrations that I can recall immediately.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. And it's just one of those things where... so we get to issue 8, chapter 8. So, hurry guys, Father and Donnie are down. These damn things are everywhere.
More curses.
Yes. I don't mind it.
No, me neither. I think it's
I mean...
They're teenagers. Of course they swear when Splinter's not around.
Or when he's incapacitated.
You gotta get him in sometime.
Yeah, that's true. So old Hob it looks like he's hiding behind. He's hiding behind the damaged wall since now that half the place is torn down. He's hiding behind the damaged wall, and he eventually. Mikey can't handle the Mousers any more than Leo can. And we then go back to Stockman. Yeah, I don't like the scene. Like I said, when I read it, just to read it, it was fine. It didn't bother me, but the scenes are changing way too quickly. They really are. So we have more of Stockman and Krang, and they mention this other experiment that's loose in the city, this giant white alley cat looking thing, which comes up.
I missed that reference, but they did have it on the next page, yeah.
Yeah, well, she comes up in the Raphael micro, so we'll get to that.
And this answered questions for me too. I wasn't sure how she tied in, or what the ninjas were trying to do with April in the first issue. This is it. The foot, whatever incarnation they are happening right now, they were trying to get the mutagen to make their own mutants, and this white cat-looking thing that we find out what it is later, and you'll all find out too, is their first experiment, their first product.
Yeah. So, old Hob has made off with Splinter. And Raph's like, I'm looking, Leo, but I don't see him anywhere. So old Hob has basically rat-napped Splinter.
Nice.
Yeah. I tried. And they eventually do kill all the Mousers. We then... This is so awesome. We then get to the next panel. No. They don't kill the Mousers yet because Donnie has come up with a plan where they all get in the single file line. And that stops. That's where that page stops. And then the next page is, stop here, April, in a van much like the 90 film.
Yay! Same color and everything.
I know. And it's kind of a reverse of the film if you look at it, because Casey is taking her to them, and instead of Casey in the film saying, "Nice place, guys. You coming, dude?" Oh no.
Yeah.
First the farm that time forgotten. Now this.
The part of the what's going on, why Casey's taken April here now, is he asked her why she's taken self-defense. She mentions these ninjas and this really smart rat, and Casey's going, wait a minute, I have some friends that you really should meet. And this is where he's taking her to them to make the introduction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And we go back to the plan of Donatello, where they see him as one. All the Mousers see him as one turtle, and then they flank him and spank him.
That's great.
And it was a really cool plan. That's how they work with teamwork. That's simply amazing. So they figure out that Hob must have taken Splinter. And,
holy crap, Casey, you're just bringing random girls to the lair? Not cool, bro. They don't actually say that, but they're a little more preoccupied with Splinter.
And those are 4 giant turtle men. I can't deal with this crap.
And she faints.
Again, it's kind of similar to the 87 series.
Why did I ever dream of Harrison Ford?
I wasn't thinking of the 90 movie. I was thinking of the yeah, you're right. I was more so thinking the 5-episode pilot of the 87 series, but yeah, you're right.
I need to rewatch that, I think, to make it fresher in my head. All I remember was those 5 episodes were where the animation was really tight and beautiful.
Yeah. She basically human Bebop and Rocksteady trap her in the sewer, and the turtles come in, save the day. They take her to the lair. And it's nothing like the movie. I don't think she screams. I don't remember. Yeah. So issue 8 ends with I'm pretty not happy that I taught her to punch, because I'm pretty sure when she wakes up she's going to break my face. Oh man. Overall, I'm still really digging this story. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you should go back and read the originals," and this, like, right now, for me, IDW with Turtles and Transformers, that's my continuity. People have told me the same thing with Transformers. Oh, you should go back and read the Marvel stuff.
I can't read that Marvel stuff for that. I have several of them in trade and some weird reprinted large format things. It reads like 1970s Spider-Man for me.
No. So we have yet another art gallery in the trade here. We have.
I want that art gallery. I'm so jealous.
We have one page with art by Kevin Eastman. It's basically a Raphael snowman with the 4 turtles. It's kind of like them in Central Park on the bridge, and they're looking at a Raphael snowman with his tongue sticking out. The only reason why I say it's Raph is because it's the red bandanas on the snowman. The art was done by Eastman and colors by Rhonda Patterson. On the next page is the Turtles and Casey surrounded by Foot. The next one is really cool. Opposite in this page, art done by Dan Duncan. This page, colors by Rhonda Patterson. The left page here is basically a point of view from the Mouser. Kind of like if you think of Terminator 2, when he turns his HUD on, or when you think of Iron Man to be more current.
Yeah.
When he turns his HUD on, it's basically that. It's the Mouser's POV of the Turtles with 4 threats.
Actually, that's the cover to issue 6, I think. Is it?
What is it?
Big red dot.
Yep.
Threat 1, 2, 3, 4, Alpha 001, primary mission destroy. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. The next one is General Krang standing over the 4 turtles, which he has never met them to this point.
Yep, that's issue 7 cover. Cool.
Okay.
So you got the covers.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very, very cool. Foot territories. Keep out. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I really love these covers. I really love the Mouser cover. That's an awesome cover. And then the back page just kind of advertises the Ultimate Collection Volume 1, the Volume 1 trade, and the Micro Series Volume 1 trade. Overall, Volume 2, the story is just progressing so well.
Yes.
I mean, it really, really is just progressing so well. Absolutely love it. And yeah, I was kind of like, hey, who is that white fox? I guess I will find out as I read the next, as I read the next thing here. So overall, I really enjoyed Volume 2, and like I said, this story is so good. So good. So we're going to take another quick break. You're going to hear some audio, and we will come back and talk about the first Micro Series issues after this.
Are you looking for a weekly dose of gaming news and retro? And check out Off the Cuff, available Fridays on Geekcast Radio Network from the producers of XRG. New name, same.
It's action. It's drama. It's comedy. It's Decian, the superhero webcomic. Decian has superhero antics and sexy girls. Catch updates weekly at Decian.com and NoSuperpants.com.
Hey Geekcast listeners, do you ever listen to Punisher Body Count and think to yourself, this show would be awesome if it had less toilet humor and was not about the Punisher? If so, join me, Emily Williams, as I class up the Punisher guys on Dane and Jake Get Classy. We're like the Oprah Book Club of comics. You'll hear us discuss famous works like The Dark Knight Returns and The Grove, along with graphic novels no one else is talking about, like Blue Monday and Blankets. You can find us at daneandjakegetclassy.wordpress.com or on iTunes.
Perhaps I can best explain. The story of my young friends and I is really the story of a man named Hamato Yoshi. In Japan, there is a ninja clan known as the Foot. Hamato Yoshi was their Shidoshi. teacher of the warrior ways of enlightenment. Yoshi was a quiet man who loved art, but one student sought to usurp his leadership of the Foot Clan. Oroku Sake. Then one day, a master sensei, a teacher, visited the Foot School, and Oroku Sake made his move.
Impudent dog! Bow before our beloved master! So, you plot to kill our honorable sensei!
Disgraceful! For this misdeed, you should be banished from the Foot Clan altogether!
What say you, all-wise sensei?
Oh, okay. I say, throw the bomb out!
So we now move on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Micro Series. I have Volume 1. Joe is reading these singly. The funny thing is, I should have known this when I was looking at the images for this online, like the cover image for In Stock Trades, where it specifically shows the regular bandanas. I should have known that ahead of time. I didn't think about it when I was reading that first volume.
I was very excited to see these micro series come out with cover art by David Peterson of Mouse Guard fame. One of my heroes. Met him at Comic-Con several times. Real friendly, nice guy, and it's just neat to see him draw something that's not a mouse. And I love his turtles. And
yeah.
Well, I just noticed looking at the covers that I have in my hands, their bandanas are very, very muted. In fact, Raph, Don, and Mike all look like red bandanas. And Leo his cover is in a strange light, where his bandana kind of looks dullish purple. Could have been red in dark environment. And I think these, like the preview comics were coming out, and you got to see these covers before they gave them out the bandanas. And so I'm thinking in this old, that they did that on purpose so they wouldn't blow the secret that they were colored that way.
Right, but when they put them into the collection,
they're colored different. Everything looks different on your trade cover. I looked up a picture of that. Yeah, they did put the colored bandanas on there. You sneaky people.
And I love how these are written. I really do, because we have a constant narration from Raph. In case he says, "Hey Raph, I think this guy's crying." He's a good kid from a bad part of town. I'm Raphael, Teenage Mutant Ninja. I love how they did that. Oh man, that is so cool.
And it's a throwback to the 80s. They did the same thing with those one shots. It's I Am, and then the title of the comic.
Yeah. Very cool. So basically the Raphael one shot is Raph and Casey on a comic book night, because it is a Wednesday night that Raph goes out with Casey. Goes out basically saving the scum, or saving people from the scum of the universe. Oh wait, I don't think Agent J&K would allow giant Ninja Turtles running around New York City. Casey looks awfully menacing on the next page because of the Jason. His mask.
Yeah, he did. Okay, is this the first time we saw him with the hockey mask? No, they went out and busted skulls.
Yeah, they went out and busted skulls. Yeah, a couple of back in issue 3 or 4, I think. The mask didn't look this cool back then, but yeah. So the basic gist of this is they're going out having fun, busting skulls, beating up bad guys and saving people. And then they see this one person who's in trouble, and it looks like a giant mummy. And it's being chased by these other two guys who, one of them, if you look at the page in the trade. It says it's page 9.
I don't have any page numbers over here.
Yeah, it's the one where the mummy jumps over the fence. That panel right there. If you look at that upside down, it kind of looks like the guy kind of looks like a very criminally insane Geordi from Star Trek.
I see that, yes. But if you are well versed in your 80s cartoon, 90s cartoon, that's definitely Bebop from the animated series.
Oh yeah,
unmutated, pre-mutation, yes. And his army bucket helmet goggles wearing sidekick looks a lot like pre-mutated Rocksteady. When I first read this, I wasn't sure if they were going there.
No, I knew. As soon as I read it, I knew.
And they never called him by name in here, but I wasn't sure if this was just a nod, just a handshake. Hey, you guys, you remember this? And they gave it to us, but we've already said it, and it's in the trades or in the reorder issues. They have a Bebop and Rocksteady one shot. It is them, and I'm just so glad to see all the different versions of Turtles coming together into one big pile.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Bebop, I was like, yep. That's going to be Bebop. Because you had said, earlier in this episode when we did the Volume 2, that they are looking for people they're looking to make mutants.
Yep.
So it's only obvious that they would eventually make a Bebop and a Rocksteady.
And I this is another point where I can't wait for you to catch up and read the Bebop and Rocksteady trade and then the issues of the book where they're in, because oh by golly, they make Bebop and Rocksteady cool, which I think would have been, given to anybody else, it would have been very difficult to make them cool, readable, fun, interesting. But they do a good job with them. When we get to see them here, get the snot beat out of them by Casey and Raph trying to save this mummy critter.
Yeah. And it turns out to be a fox, quite literally.
Who we saw earlier.
Yes. In the, was it issue 6 or 7? I forget.
Sure, I believe you.
I forget. Yeah, something like that. We saw it in the Volume 2 trade, because it was mentioned that they had a mutation beforehand. So this is their first experiment, and she's really living up to her name as we go along here. I love the design on her, though.
That's an Eastman design.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. I was just waiting for the Hound to show up.
Which Hound?
The Fox and the Hound.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
I haven't seen that movie since I was a child, but I know it made me cry every time I watched it.
So we... So she tells Raph Raph and Casey her whole story, and Raph's gonna take her to safety, and Casey's gonna call the cops and disappear while they basically pick up Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't care what their names are. They're gonna end up being Bebop and Rocksteady, so it's not like it matters what their real names are. So we have Raph jumping across roofs, and he gets about, 4 or 5 blocks away, and he's doing all this monologuing, and he realizes, professional. Damn it. What is it?
He realizes that the fox is pulling one over on him. He's taking her back to the base because she's a mutant and he wants answers, wants her to talk to Splinter, but he realizes that she kicked too well. She did all the right things, and he knows that she's pulling one over on him, so he stops and drops her off a roof.
Yep. He basically Raphael in this issue is basically Batman, ladies and gentlemen. He basically drops her off a roof. And I love the dialogue when she says, "When did you figure me out?" And his internal says, "Seconds ago." And he says to her, "The moment I laid eyes on her."
Hey, Ninja's biggest tool is deception.
That's very true. So we basically have a fight between him and her. Some really cool design. The panel where he's using his sai against her, that's really awesome. That's a really cool image.
Hey, there's some Photoshop going on there of real sparks.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that sparking? That makes no sense.
She has very special claws.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, because she caught the building. She drove her nails into the building to stop herself from falling, so they must have some Lady Deathstroke stuff or going.
Deathstrike?
I don't know.
Yeah, Deathstrike.
I don't read Marvel. Well, I don't read that Marvel, I'll be honest.
So yeah, she basically disappears after the fight.
Raph goes back and tells his brothers about this ninja fox he just fought and does leave out the part where he almost led her back to the lair.
Yes.
Which at this point is not destroyed yet, chronologically speaking, but...
Yeah, it's not destroyed yet, but it will be later. And Leo basically gives him 2 orders, which he broke later that night. Two thugs were caught away. Problem was they never made it to the police station. Cop car, 2 bad guys missing. Dun dun dun. Let's see. So they eventually. So the bad guys all get away. Bebop, Rocksteady, and Alopex. I don't know if I like that name, but okay.
I bet it means something in, like, Alaskan. Wait, they speak English up there. Inuit, yes. How about that? That's what I meant to say.
Yes. And it basically, this page basically ends with Silence Cretin, you will be changed.
And I think that's our first look at Shredder. He doesn't have his armor yet. Still a generic-looking ninja, but the ominous shadow behind him.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very cool. And I guess I've got some variant covers or something, because there's a cover of Raph by Franco Euro. Colors by Fabio Montavani, I believe that's how you say his name. And then the next issue...
Oh, well, for our listeners who like words, Alopex lagopus is the taxonomic synonym for the Arctic fox. There you go.
There you go. Why couldn't they just call her Snow Stalker?
Lady Death Fox.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, boy. So the next one we have is Mikey, and the art is by David Peterson on the cover. And all I can think of when I see this cover is, oh, fellow Chucker, eh?
I watched that scene in slow motion so many times with my foam padded nunchucks that I learned to do those katas. I can look terrifying with a pair of nunchucks, but if you tell me to do anything with them beyond those katas, no, I'm gonna hit myself in the head.
When I was 10 when that movie came out, and until I was probably about 21, about 11 years, it took me to realize he said foul, or fellow checker, not foul, or fellow chucker, not foul checker.
Watching that as an adult, I realize how many lines I didn't understand as a child. Like, oh, hey, I understand it now.
What are we on? G. You got it.
Gackface.
Hose brain. So Mikey starts, and he's out to have a party, because Mikey's a party dude. He looks weird without his bandana. They all look weird without the bandanas. I'll say that now. But I understand why he's not wearing it, because, hello, orange would really, really reveal him. And again, the the internal dialogue. It's really awesome. Time's running out. It's almost midnight, and I have no plans, not at all. Just once I want to take a break from being Michelangelo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I love how different between, and I'll say this when we get to Leo and Donnie, or Donnie and Leo as well. I love how all four of them are different, where the design is different of the introduction, and it's a really great way to lay out and tell people who they are. So Mikey finds this New Year's Eve party.
And it just happens to be a costume party.
I don't know of anyone that does costume parties on New Year's Eve.
Well, apparently these guys did.
Apparently. But, like, seriously,
in a post 9/11 world in New York, doubt it.
Yeah, true. Seriously, though, listeners, if you're listening to this and you know of anyone or you are someone who went to a costume party on New Year's Eve, any New Year's Eve, either comment on the post or email me, tftmike@gmail.com. Let me know.
Email us. Send pictures, please.
No. Seriously, I would like to know if anyone has been to a costume party on New Year's Eve, because I've never heard of this. I mean, I'm not complaining as far as the story goes, because it fits in with what the story is. But it's just weird. And apparently, the green T-Rex can't go through with the plan. I guess he was really Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Oh my God, that theme song's in my head now. Oh no. I won't sing it. Not for you guys.
So we've got so Mikey basically takes his place. And this cat lady is basically thinking he's the same guy, but it's a totally different costume.
You're not a lizard, you're a turtle.
Yeah.
And my favorite line from this book, thank you for saying that. Some people generalize, and that hurts, says Mike. And I'm thinking, wait, turtles are amphibians, right? They don't mention, there's a point where another joke like that is made, and I don't know if they get it right, if the book gets it right.
So we have this crime in progress that Mikey is supposed to be tagging along with, which he so totally doesn't. Well, he does to a certain extent. Oh, I know why. Because, he does to an extent because he's the only one that can make it through the lasers.
Well, the beautiful story thing that this one does, I don't care for the overall story, but as they're going through this heist and they're trying to steal this rock, this gem that they're referencing, this Dresden diamond, they'll encounter a problem, and something that the other brothers contribute to who Mikey is, he references it to overcome the challenge. He's the laser beams crisscrossing the room. He thinks back to Leonardo, who takes him out on patrol and makes him run courses and then do it again at twice the speed. And so now he's able to flip through the things. And when they have to hack into the computer thing, and he's the hacker, the dinosaur guy that he replaced was supposed to be the hacker. He's looking at it and he doesn't know what he's doing with computers, but he just starts repeating badly, humorously, some of the things that he hears Donnie say. And they buy it. Like, oh, I can't hack this. The kernel level system application created Threatmash. I can't do it. And so they have to find the other way through. I think those little twists are, I think, what Mikey would do as the youngest of the turtles, the most, the least ninja-like of the turtles. He would reference what they're doing. He would mimic what they're doing to be what he has to be. And he's good at it, and I think that's why he passes as the ninja.
Yeah.
Especially in this story.
Yeah, especially in this story, and we get to the point where he's passed all the lasers, and he's like, well, instead of hacking this, maybe an alarm is what we need.
Because, Mikey's a nice guy. He's not going to steal this diamond for him, so he totally smashes the thing, trips the alarm on purpose.
Yep. very, very, very cool. And again, he flashes to Raph with the taunting. And it doesn't really work out so well for him. I mean, granted, he's a turtle, he'll land on his feet, but still. So the heist ends up getting broken up. Come to find out, the cat lady is a cop.
The lady dressed up as a cat for the costume party. When we talk about animal things, we're gonna like, wait a minute, is that a mutant? No, this one's
The cat lady that's in the costume cat lady. I do like. I do like what Mikey does to her, though.
Yes, another favorite. She's
okay.
got a
When
gun
did you
pointed
steal
at
my
him.
gun? When you were talking, I think it was between you and idiot. Again, it shows that while Mikey isn't the smartest, bravest, most in-your-face ninja, he can still get away with stuff on his own terms.
Mm-hmm. So the lady dressed as a cat is tells him that she's a police officer trying to infiltrate this group, and so Mikey gives her this big turtle shell shaped gem. I think that's just coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. And then it basically ends with how long are we supposed to wait down here?
The other two heist people waiting for their cut. And I think that's a dog peeing on his foot.
Yes, it is. The alternate cover for this, I assume it's an alternate cover, art by Andy Kunn, colors by Bill Crabtree, the Dresden heist. It's really interesting because it's basically Mikey in the... it's basically if you got a tattoo of Mikey on your arm, but it's a shadow of an arm, so it's basically a black arm with Michelangelo inside of it picking up the Dresden diamond or whatever it's supposed to be.
In the back of the single issue, there are beautiful sketches by Andy Kuhn, the guy who did the interior art, that are kind of throwbacks to those heist movie posters. Really simple line work, but they're gorgeous sketches, worth trying to track down online to look at.
Yeah, and the next one, cover by David Peterson, which is Donnie's. And I didn't notice this when I was first reading this to record this podcast, but he's got a Chinese lantern on his bow. No, I'm not complaining. It's just I didn't notice it first. And it basically starts out with, I am Donatello, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And then he goes into his monologue. Again, I like how different they all are. I think that's interesting, that they're not all the same style as far as how they introduce themselves. And Donnie is the tech guy. Donnie is the guy who is good with computers, who, always does the tech support, and it's very, very cool.
I love the first panel of that, where the four of them are fighting the thugs.
Yeah.
The lines, the angles, the composition, that's a beautiful panel.
Yeah, it is. And after that, we get more of what Donnie likes, and that he's online and he
playing MMOs.
Yes, yeah. Well, he doesn't just play video games; he visits a variety of forums, as does Machines 84.
Nod to the first year of Turtles publication and the cartoon theme song.
Yep.
This on these forums, they're showing what Donnie's typing and what some of his fellow people on there are typing, and this hit me rereading this. The one of the people talking to him is Kirby Fan 01, who he'll meet in real life later in the story. I seeing that and then seeing some of the art that happens later. This entire issue is a homage, throwback, nod to the Jack Kirby, and even some of the illustrations later when we start seeing some of the science things go off. The glowing light black spackled texture is Kirby Crackle from the old comics that he would draw in there. And one of the characters in here, who we'll get to, has his stuff stolen, and the other people make the money off of it, and he's kind of relegated to the shadows, like Jack Kirby, where Stan Lee stole everything he did, and other folks. I think that was, of course, now, although we all respect Jack Kirby because we know better, but I wonder if there are more nods to that whole story that I don't know because I'm not as versed as I should be in those classic comics, but I thought that was neat. And I'm going to ask you this, also on those forum pages, Professor J. Perry. Professor Perry, Jordan Perry. Yes, from the movie too. And anti-mutagen.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so awesome. So awesome. So they basically show Donnie this New World Expo thing. That's
Come on, we all know it's the Stark Expo.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it was before that movie, or no, it was after. But anyway, it's not really.
Yeah. It's you know, it would have really given it away, or it would have been probably a cooler name instead of New World Expo, New Stock Expo, since it's put on by Stockman. So we go to the New Stock Expo, and we see this professor who has a bunch of wildly colored buttons all over himself, and he's putting his hand into this giant war machine-like weapon. And he basically tries to pull a hot dog cart into the building.
with delicious Kirby Crackle all over it.
Yeah.
I like that nod.
Lilja. Harold Lilja just kicked Gravity's butt. And I didn't notice this at first, but Donnie isn't wearing his bandana either. I mean, it makes sense. Like I said before, I'm not going to complain that they're not wearing it when they're out in public, but I don't know. It's still a little strange. So basically, Harold is shunned by these people. He tries using his stealth mode wristwatch. And that doesn't really turn out too well. But Donnie's like, whoa, he's a genius. My question is, how do they not see this giant green guy?
Wearing a trench coat and a fedora.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's like, he's got green face, green hands with only 3 fingers. How do they not realize this isn't a human?
Is it really not that? It's really hard for them to wear pants, apparently, with his big green legs sticking out and green feet. Like, wrap up your toes, dude.
Yeah.
Wrap up your ankles. Just keep going. Help the illusion.
Yeah, really. And then all of a sudden we get to the point where the StockGen people are basically kidnapping Harold. And Donnie basically sheds his trench coat and fedora and puts his bandana on and goes after them, running up the stairs. We see Stockman. Stockman gives apparently a very lazy summation of his life.
I don't believe a word of it.
No. And Donnie, with his spying on him, is basically saying, not liking this at all. What's this giant red button do? Well, it's going to set off a bomb that destroys the entire city. Oh, boy. And it's a button that pretty much detects the turtles, apparently.
Yeah, Stockman recruited this Lilja scientist who's actually pretty brilliant to track down the turtles so they can harvest the pure mutagen that's still left in their bodies, because he needs it back for Krang. And so he gives this guy the device that will track the turtles, which leads to Donnie, who's in the room with them spying on everything they're saying. And so now he's very in trouble, as they all know where he is. Everybody pulls guns on him.
Yep. And then we get... and everyone is armed. Doesn't that seem off to you? You may be right. You're obtuse as hell, but you got a point. Thank you, sir, but that's not even a word.
Which is a conversation they had before on the computer screen, and they realize that each other is each other from the forums.
Meh. Kirby Fan 01? Does Machines 84?
Arch nemesis.
Yeah. I absolutely love this story. I absolutely love these stories. It's so great. And then all of a sudden, Kirby Fan goes all ballistic. You're secure at this distance, sir. We need backup. You've already got backup. And he goes crazy.
He throws Pokeballs at him that explode.
Yeah. No Pokemon are coming out of those things. You blow up Pikachu, bastard. So these two have to team up because Donnie keeps trying to talk him into doing the right thing, and then Donnie might say something that sets him off. And Donnie even says, "Mental note: try not to say stuff that's going to piss him off." So cool, so cool. Let's see, where do we go from here? We go to more fighting, and apparently this, for lack of a better term, this Nintendo Entertainment System Power Glove runs on power of the person. And Donnie's like, why don't you just get a battery backup for it?
Oh, that'd be easy.
Yeah. So Donnie's like, let's see how it runs on turtle power.
I love that line, too.
I love that line. It's so awesome. So very, very awesome.
So they end up teaming up to escape, and Stockman's pissed, of course.
Yeah, because he can't harvest any of the technology at this point. So Stockman's pissed. We wrap it up with Donnie back at home. Father's not too happy about risks I took, of course, but he's happy I'm okay and appreciates the valuable intel I was able to gather. Risk and reward, yay me. I'm a gadget geek, a tech nerd. I know machines. It's cool, Leo. We can run drills tomorrow. Instead, I know you dig that. Fortunately, I'm not too bad with people either, because he has a request from
Captain Abstruse.
Yeah.
Friend request? Yes, that's what they call those.
Yeah. The game request from him. And which obviously it's the professor there. And the alternate cover in the trade is basically Donnie with the power glove on, with his bow on the ground.
When I just made that connection. The original Donatello one-shot cover, he's got that power glove on.
Oh, does he?
I haven't read that. Yeah, there's the original 84-85 version is a drawing of it's a Jack Kirby homage issue. It is. Oh my God, they totally get together with with the old series. It's a drawing of Donatello on a paper with a mini 3D real Donatello on top of it wearing the power glove. I think it's about a science or an artist who whatever he draws comes to life, and he's drawing Donatello, and so he pops off the page, and that's kind of what the story is about in that old series. Wow. Very cool. There you go, listeners. Go read that old series and see how it compares. I have to go read that now. Thank you.
And finally, we get the leader, Leonardo, and you are right. The colors on the covers, they are very muted. Leo's is a muted purple. You're right, because I don't think the reveal was up yet.
Yep, and I think,
but in the issue, it is. So yeah, it's probably a solicit thing where the covers came out. Yeah. So we get Leo,
and this I remember this also. This is very, very close to the Leonardo single issue from the 80s again. The story anyway.
Very cool. So we get Leo. He's basically searching every place that they've fought or been or all that good stuff. He's looking for answers. He's heading back to Stockman's lab, hopefully going to find answers there. And this is where we see him consistently having flashbacks to his former life. Which is very, very, very cool. People always mention reincarnation to me sometimes, and you'll always hear people, when I die and come back and get reincarnated, I'm going to get reincarnated to this just so I can piss this person off and this, that, and the other thing, and everything else. And it's like, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of don't believe it in general. But in purposes of this story, it's very believable.
I think it makes it. I don't want to say it makes it believable, but it justifies a lot of things, and I think it paints that complete circle that has up until now. I mean, 25, 30 years later, that was missing from the Turtles.
Yeah.
So I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, very much so. So Leo is out looking for answers, and he finds them in the form of the Foot Clan. And the first page where he fights one of the Foot Clan members, Leo says, "Nice try." The swords, the wording for the sword sound is clang. And all I can think of is Raph in the 87 series in the beginning. Clang? Did you say clang? And, dudes, nuts, they're robots. Robots, let's rock!
It's just so they could actually hit them with their weapons.
Yes. So basically what you're getting here is a reverse of what happened in the film in 1990. Instead of Raph getting ganged up on by the Foot, it's Leo. Because they are everywhere.
And, I love it when these things remind me of things. The movie is very much a almost scene for scene port of the original comic book, and that scene with Raph getting beat up by the foot soldiers was that. You're right. Leonardo was that happened in the comics, and it was Leonardo getting beat up by them and then dropped through the window. That was kind of cool. I didn't make that connection before, but it was so close to the comic books that Eastman and Laird were actually fighting to get a writing credit on the movie, and they ended up not giving it to them, which probably would have meant some kind of union money for them, or a residual check from a different union, but they didn't get that. It's okay, they're both probably millionaires now.
They would have to be. I mean...
Well, I know Laird is for sure. Eastman probably. Laird made a lot of money selling them to Viacom.
Yeah. So Leo is severe. Like, I mean, to say he is severely outnumbered is an understatement. I mean, he is like overwhelmed.
There's hundreds of them in these panels, and I think that's, well, not literally hundreds, but they are so outnumbered. It's beautiful.
There's at least 50 or 60 of these guys, at least.
Do you think he's killing them?
No, I don't. I think he's knocking them out. I don't think he would kill. He doesn't like. That's not his that's not his personality. Like,
it is they do it in the 84 willy nilly.
Do they?
They're they're murderers. They're cutthroat. That's kind of what made that. It's a much darker comic.
Yeah,
they kill left and right. Maybe they stop off later, but they're just. Anyway, I think you're right. We don't see blood, we don't see gore, we don't see katanas plunging through chest cavities.
Yeah, I think he's just knocking them all out, or he's incapacitating them to the point where, sure, they're still alive. They're gonna limp away.
And he does say that he's trying to leave one of them conscious so he can knock him out and drag him to the lair and get answers.
And see, that's the thing. He says, I got a brother who is gonna love squeezing you for information. Now, see, that is like. I could see if the roles were reversed and Leo was at home and this was Raph's story, I could see Raph killing them because Raph would.
In this instance where it's kill or be killed, I think Raph would have taken the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
and chanced these guys not waking up and coming to get him again.
Yeah, and then we run into the old lady because they barge into her house. Get out of my house! Why is it every time I see a pedestrian woman, I keep flashing to the 87 series? You monsters, I'm going to hit you with my Tommy gun. The old lady that... Oh, boy. The art in this...
I need to double check, and I can't right now because my chair will squeak a whole lot, but I think this is the artist who is currently on the book now. The turtles they're different, but it's similar. Okay. The body proportions are what's similar.
Okay. I love
this art.
I love the art. I think it's great. And I love how in the ongoing, I expect a certain... I guess now that I've read 8 issues of it, I'm fine with what it is. Going back and forth between kind of like the dark tones of like the city life and then the kind of like the bright tones of 16th century Japan. But if you look at these 4 issues, the tones, the background tones fit the situation for all the characters, for all 4 of them. And this really fits with them. And Leo, as he's doing this fighting, he flashes back to his mother again. And that's what gives him the strength to kind of overpower all the foot soldiers.
Yeah, he recognizes the foot soldiers for what they were, the murderers of his mother.
Yeah.
And the bottom of that, the bottom right panel of that that's one of my favorite illustrations from this particular book too.
Yeah. Very, very awesome. And he's basically saying no one gets away. Now, I have a feeling
now he's killing them.
Yeah, probably. This one ends with what I assume is the same guy that we saw before, where he says, I am unimpressed, and he basically throws Leo off the building.
Yeah, so Leo's thinning out the crowd, and then there's the one on the roof with that peculiar scar over his eye, which I think Splinter might have done that.
Yeah.
That was Shredder. That answers my question. Now I get it. And so they have a one-on-one here, and Leo gets trounced, and yes, I've seen enough, and then drops him off the roof. That is definitely Oroku Saki before he decided to get his armor.
Yeah.
Out of wherever it is.
Yeah. And he limps home. He tells his brothers about the ninja army, but he doesn't tell them about the final battle. I don't know if they were with Hob or if they were with someone new. And this issue takes place immediately after issue 8 of the ongoing, because you see Casey and April there with no Splinter. We fight, Mike. We keep fighting no matter what until Splinter is back with us. We're never losing a family member again. And it says the end, which obviously we know it's not, but there's another cover on here, art by Ross Campbell. It's Leo surrounded by the foot soldiers. And then there's some pretty cool drawings of Alopex. Very cool there. We have the Dresden Heist, an alternate cover for black and white alternates for that. And the final one is art by Ross Campbell. It's renders of Leo in color and in just drawn. Overall, I gotta say that these are some really badass stories.
The only one of these that I don't think has popped up again is the Michelangelo one.
I don't think it will.
I think it will eventually. I'm thinking maybe Eye of Sarnath.
Okay. I don't know if it will. I mean, I can see Raph, Donnie, and Leo's do. I mean, Leo's obviously.
Leo, the rest of them do.
Yeah.
Or have already. I mean.
Yes. Yes, I know. I need to catch up. Damn
That's
it.
Okay. I won't ruin anything major for you. Not at all.
Well, now that my most pressing concern between this back issue classics episode and last time has already been taken care of with the bandanas, I'm good. I do have questions about the guy with the scar, which we kind of figured. I mean, you got to figure it's got to be Shredder, but I'm kind of wondering why now he's at this point going around like this versus just showing up and being there. I like it that he's doing it this way, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the future.
Which is good because I don't remember how he makes the transition. Well, because I wasn't sure this was Shredder. I don't think anybody was sure that this was Shredder until.
I think I will find out come Volume 3, because Volume 3 is Shadows of the Past, and the Volume 3 cover is Shredder proper on the cover. So we'll find out the next time we do one of these. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with final thoughts and ratings after this.
When there's music inside of you, you know that someday it's got to come through. That's why we're here and we're telling you true. We're coming out of our shells, yeah. You hear the rhythm and you're moving your feet. Ain't nothing like a song with a beat. We're coming out up from under the street. Lord, we're ready to rock. There will be no retreat. We're coming out of our shells, yeah. Out of our shells. We're coming out of our shells. We're coming out of our shells. Oh, 'cause once we got started, we knew that we scored. Learning the music and finding the chords. We just keep practicing, we stayed underground. 'Cause singing in the sewer is a wonderful sound. It's a wonderful sound. We're coming out of our shells. Oh, we're coming out of our shells. We're coming out of our shells. 'Cause when there's music inside of you, you know that one day it's got to come through. That's why we're here and we're telling you true. We're coming out of our shells. Lord, we're coming out of our shells. Yeah, we're coming out of our shells. Lord, we're coming out of our shells.
So we are back, and it's time to give our final thoughts and ratings on Volume 2 and Micro Series Volume 1 of IDW's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Issues 5 to 8, really enjoying it. Didn't see the reincarnation angle coming in. I kind of saw it, and I was like, are they really going with this? Okay, I can kind of get behind it. It kind of makes sense now that Leo is kind of remembering stuff, so I liked it. For me, Volume 2 is only going to get an almost perfect. That's 4.5 stars. The only reason why it gets a half star taken off is because Splinter looks like a dog, not a rat. What are your final thoughts on Volume 2?
I have to break it down into issues. Issue number 5, where it's the flashback between old Japan and present day with the death of his real children in ancient Japan. That gets a 5 star because of what it did to me. You know, made me cry like a baby thinking about my kid. On the whole, the rest of those get a 4.5. So, 4 3/4, but 4.5 generally speaking. Yeah. I think so too. But that issue 5, if you own one issue of that book, that's going to be the one to get. And after rereading this, I think I need to go back and get those alternate covers for that.
The trades.
Well, I'd go back and buy the single issues with the mirror cover and have that. Okay. Someday I'll have the trades because I want that art, but not yet.
Yeah. Not yet. And all right, so the first 4 in the Micro series, they're all 4 very different tales because all of the turtles are very, very different personalities
and different writers, different illustrators for each of those. It's hard to look at those together, right?
Was it different writers on each of them?
I'm double checked.
Lynch.
Nope.
Yep, Lynch wrote them all.
Never mind, I take that back. Sorry for interrupting.
And Waltz had script on Donnie's. No, the writing is consistent, but each of the stories, because he's writing from the POV of that turtle, he ties into their personalities so well. And it doesn't take away with what Eastman and Waltz are doing in the ongoing at all. If anything, it adds to it. Because it's showing you their individual personalities without having to take up a whole issue of the ongoing by saying, this is Leo, this is Mikey, this is Donnie, this is Raph. I am glad that they ordered them the way that they did, because like you said, Leo's basically leads into the next part of the story. Mm-hmm. So I like that. The Micro Series Volume 1, I'm going to give it a 5. There was little nitpicky things I could pick out of it, but it wasn't like... There wasn't a moment where I'm like, yeah, I need to stop reading this. You know?
For me, those books, I think reading them the first time, they seem, except for Leo's, which obviously leads in, they were so disconnected that they weren't as satisfying as the main story. Liked what they did with the perspective and being able to spend time with each turtle, learning about them and who they are and what their characters, what they really are, their essence. But reading it the first time, because it's so disconnected, it didn't jive with me. Months later, these things are starting to pay off, which make it important to have gone back and reading them. But I think because of that disjointed thing, the taking that step outside the story that I had been loving so much, as good as they did, I will give that 4 of our stars, which is still good. I think it's still good.
Yes. All right. I have no idea what you're going to hear inside the pull bag next. We will most likely be back sometime in April to do Volume 3 and potentially Volume 4, which is... let me look here. I think it's... we are not doing Infestation.
No, we are
Number
skipping
1
that.
and number 2. We're skipping Infestation. 9, 10, 12, 13... I don't know. Basically, Volume 3 is Shadows of the Past. Volume 4 is... I would have to look it up and find out. But we'll be back with Back Issue Classics. And just to let everybody else know, more than the TMNT coverage will be happening in Back Issue Classics. We have a whole... In July, we're doing a Back Issue Classics month for Green Lantern. So I think we're having like 8 or 9 episodes of Green Lantern coverage. Starting with, I believe, the Sinestro Corps War, then Rebirth, and then going forward from there. So that's going to do it for us here in the Pull Bag. You got anything you want to pimp out, Joe?
I'm going to pimp out Geek Stuff Garage Sale. Find us on Facebook, searching for that without any spaces. If you're in the Midwest Michigan area, it'll be fun to drive by. If you're in Indiana and you make that drive, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Very cool, very cool. All right. I am, of course, TF Joe and Mike. He is Joe Reed. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
I'm concerned about April.
What is it, Raphael? A threatening note? Worse than that. It's the check!
You just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, GCRN's comic book review podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes and be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. You can send us an email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.